of people who live on this planet, which is called Earth. Today, in this recording or this video, I will be telling the story of our math class for this semester. Woo! Okay, so the first thing, or basically the whole semester, we were talking about tessellations. So a tessellation is a pattern that has no gaps or no overlaps. Tessellations, they can be man-made or they can be natural tessellations. Tessellations normally start off with a square or a rectangle. Both of those are quadrilaterals. But for most of my tessellations that I will insert pictures of in this video, they were all made starting with a square. So let's go back to when I said man-made or natural tessellations. Man-made tessellations are tessellations that are made by humans. And then natural tessellations are things that are in nature, like the pattern of beehives. Yeah. Or the pattern in pineapples, in some snake skins, different things like that. Alright, so after we looked at pictures of man-made tessellations and tessellations in nature, we made our own tessellations. So those tessellations will fall under man-made since it's people who made it. The first tessellation that we did was translation tessellations. And I'll insert a picture of tessellations, translation tessellations from Google. And then I will also insert a picture that I made. Translation tessellations are patterns, a pattern that you have one shape and you just move it to the other side. And you keep moving to the other side until you filled up your piece of paper. In the man-made tessellation that I made, I thought that it looked like bats. So my drawing was black with like a yellow outline. And I try to make like little smiley faces for the bats since I don't really know how to draw. Next, rotation tessellations. For rotation tessellations, of course, you start off with your base shape, which is either a rectangle or a square, and you cut it out. You make the shape, and you move it to the side beside it. I'll show a picture of the original like tessellation shape, and as you can see on the top, I made a shape and moved it to the right side, and then the bottom I made like two little hills and moved it to the other side. And then I made my tessellation with that. Next, we did rotation tessellation. Okay, so now we will be talking about the reflection tessellation. And in the picture I'm going to insert, this is how I made the original tessellation shape. As you can see on the top, there are these three sharp, like pointy heels. And so you trace that, you cut it out, and then you move it to the bottom and flip it. And then on the right side, you can see that there are these two heels. You cut that out, flip it, and push it to the other side. And that's how you make the shape, the original shape, to make a reflection tessellation. And so then you put it on your piece of paper, You can start in the middle on the side, but I started in the middle so I could have room on all sides to reflect this desolation. So I started in the middle, I traced the shape, and then I moved to the right side and see which way I had to turn my shape in order for it to fit the first little shape I made on the piece of paper. You keep doing that until you fill up the piece of paper or the plane that you're drawing your tessellation on. So those are the three tessellations that we went over and drew in class. And again, those are translation tessellations, rotation tessellations, and reflection tessellations. Next, we talked about tessellations on the coordinate plane. And the coordinate plane, of course, if you remember in math, is where you have those four quadrants. You have like the negative, negative, the positive, 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 negative, negative, positive with the X and Y. Yes. So in class, we drew our tessellations on one of the sides, one of the quadrants on the coordinate plane. And we explained the points to make in order to recreate our tessellations, and also to see once we do our translation, rotation, or reflection tessellations, where it would end up on the coordinate plane. The next thing we talked about was quadrilaterals. Quadrilaterals are shapes with four sides. So, like as in the beginning, squares and rectangles, they are like the basic quadrilaterals, and they have four sides being parallel to each other. We also talked about parallelograms, rhombuses, trapezoids, scalene trapezoids, and isosceles trapezoids, and also a shape called a kite, which I thought was interesting. After that, we talked about triangles and how they all tessellate. In class, we went over 7 triangles. So triangles like an acute scalene triangle, a right scalene triangle, an obtuse scalene triangle, an acute isosceles triangle, a right isosceles triangle, an obtuse isosceles triangle, and then lastly an acute equilateral triangle. We drew those and named them based off of their angles and their size. And if you wanted to make tessellations with those triangles, it's possible. So basically, that's the story of our math class for this first semester. And again, to go over like the different points, we talk about tessellations, man-made tessellations, and natural tessellations, and then translation tessellations, rotation tessellations, reflection tessellations. Tessellations are the coordinate plane, quadrilaterals, and how they tessellate, and all triangles and how they tessellate. Hope you enjoyed.